Hello, Photo Enthusiast Network members. This is David McKay, and I am bringing you a Tuesday tip in the form of both a written tip as well as video. The reason for that is I feel this is probably one of the most important tips and tutorials that I've done. We continue to get a ton of questions, people wanting to make sure that their images are backed up correctly. And so I decided to put together this tutorial that it's pretty extensive, but it gives you exactly what I do to make sure that my work is saved. Now, if you are watching this video first and you have not started reading, I want to let you know that the first thing you should do is go start reading the tip and the tutorial first. That's going to give you a better idea. I'm going to follow that outline in the video. It's just super important to understand that your images, everything that we teach, everything that you know in photography means nothing if you lose your images. And I can tell you that without a doubt, I have lost hard drives. In fact, I lost a hard drive the other day, and that is why I decided to write this tip, because I wasn't stressed because I knew that my images were safe. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about here is how you see your hard drives and what's available. We're going to approach this from a couple different standpoints. One is if you're just downloading directly to your computer, or another is if you're importing into software such as Lightroom. Now, for those of you that have been around Pen enough, that you know that I personally do not use Lightroom, and that is not because I'm anti-Lightroom. I think Lightroom is fantastic. I think it is the way to go if you're first starting out. But I have 20 plus years of digital files that have been in a certain system and the way that I do that system, and therefore I simply use Photoshop. I use Bridge, which is part of the Photoshop software, which is very similar to Lightroom. Same idea in a lot of ways, and that is just how my organization system has been for so many years. And so that is why I go about the way that I do. The first thing to understand is that if you're on a PC, what you're going to do is you're going to look for your My Computer or go to the computer icon. And what that's going to do is that is going to bring up all of your hard drives. Now you're going to notice that I have a whole lot of hard drives here. And if you started reading my tutorial, you understand why. And I have a very direct system that I use, that I follow consistently to make sure that everything is backed up and constantly goes exactly the way I want it, to make sure that nothing is forgotten about or missed. Now, if you're using a Mac, basically you would also go to the computer and you would choose the computer icon, and you can also go ahead and then view your different hard drives that you have available. Okay, so as you can see here on my hard drives that I have, there's a number of hard drives. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with, I just have a memory card, and I'm going to go ahead and plug that memory card in and download. Now this is different than if I've been out traveling. So as an example, I just went out and I shot a few images of our dog Grace in our backyard for this tutorial. I went ahead and I plugged that memory card in, and using a port for that, and that is now showing up right here. You can see this removable disk, and that is an L disk. Now you see all these other hard drives here. Now this is a portable hard drive right here we're going to talk about, but this LaCie Dock RAID system is my first main hard drive that I'm going to go to. So in other words, I'm going to chain this. I'm going to plug into my computer here. I'm going to immediately download here, and then I'm going to download to these other two hard drives. These are a couple other spare hard drives I use just for some different things. This is an SSD drive that's really fast. I use that quickly, but I do not store a number of items on these drives. So basically I go from download into my main RAID drive, and then these go directly into two hard drives that are plugged into my computer. So you can see at any given time, I've got three hard drives working right here at my home office and my desk. And what's great about that is that if something happened, if there was a fire that happened, or I had to grab something quick of these memories, this hard drive here is actually a portable hard drive. I can unplug that, grab it, and go. And even if I lose all this, I'm okay. Now, this stays here unless there was an emergency and I had to grab it. But I do use another hard drive that I consistently back up once a month with everything that's on here and then take off site. And that again is written about in the tutorial as well. All right, so once I have plugged in that memory card, and here it is, I can click on that, and here is those files. I just keep clicking, and there's all the files that I had just photographed. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to re-click the computer here and open up another hard drive. And this is the main hard drive I'm going to go to from download. And you can see that in this hard drive I have all of my main folders. So this is not cluttered at all. At any time if I need to get something about Penn, I can click on it and there's folders in there. And each folder contains subfolders. In this case here, we're going to go ahead and, well, you can see I do that with my fine art. Here's all my 2018 fine art and folders within folders and then folders within folders. So it's very simple to get to. If you were to look at Olympic National Park, I just downloaded, and you can see within that, here's folders that I have for working, for Facebook, family images out there. Here's all of my images. So it's very simple to find my images. And you can set this up and create folders as well in Lightroom or Bridge if you're using that. So this Lightroom and Bridge will follow this. So if you open Lightroom, you can still see these folders. We'll talk about that more in a little bit, and if you're importing directly into Lightroom and exactly what to do. But for now, we're going to go ahead, we're going to open up the Penn folder because that's where I want this to go. This is going to go in the Tuesday tip folder because that is a Tuesday tip that I'm working on. And you can see I have a backup document. That is my written document. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to create a new folder here, and I'm going to call this Backup Images. So now, once I open that, I can simply take all of these images. Let's minimize this a little bit so you can see this here. I've got both folders open here, and I can take all these images. You can hit Command or Control A, and it selects, or Shift, hit this one and Shift and all of that. There we go. And I'm going to drag these over. You can see it says 28 files are dragging over. That is my RAW and the JPEG from the same images, and I'm going to simply drag those over onto that hard drive. Now these are fairly big files. This is from the Hasselblad, so it's going to take just a moment here, but you can see what's happening is all of these files that were on my memory card are now simply being added to my LaCie hard drive, and you can see it says LaCie 2 Big Dock Thunder Drive. Now in my written tutorial I talk about this. This is what's known as a RAID drive. It's 8 terabytes, but I've got it set up to split, so it's 4 terabytes and 4 terabytes. And what that means is that if for any reason the main drive goes bad, it's mirroring and it has the same exact duplicate on a secondary drive. Now, we're going to just let this go here, and once this completes, I'm going to double check and make sure that everything did in fact transfer. And the reason that is, I have had experiences where I step away and something does not transfer for some reason. There's a glitch in the internet. There could be a whole host of reasons. Maybe your hard drive accidentally got unplugged if you hit it with your foot or something like that. Just a whole host of reasons where it may not completely all go across. So at this time, you can see all of these images are carrying over to that LaCie hard drive, which I now know that this card is at least on that drive and a mirror copy is being made. Now as this comes to a close here, I'll show you the next step that I'm going to do. Alright, you can see it's coming to a close and it's 28 items, and I will look and I'll say, okay, there's my last one, there's my first one, everything transferred, we're good to go. Now I'm not going to get rid of this memory card yet. What I'm going to simply do now is close this out. And I'm going to duplicate this process. I'm going to go ahead and click on my computer again. And now I'm going to open up the next drive in line here. And you notice I'm going up versus down. It just works for me because these are two sparing drives that I use a lot, but I do not save work on. So again, from download to my one drive that's a mirror drive, and now that one is plugged into my main computer, and that's going to be these two drives. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to go to Pen, and all I have to do is come here, go to my Tuesday Tips, and I can drag that folder, Backup Images, right over there. And that's going to go ahead and move that across. You notice how fast that was. That's because now it's not coming from the memory card, but from drive to drive. And I'm going to do that one more time, and I'm going to go to the next drive in line, and here we go. There's the same. You notice all these are the same folders, so it's super easy, and I just simply go there. And there we go. And now, if I was to open up any of these hard drives, you're going to notice that I have the exact same thing. Here's my Pen folder, here's my Tuesday Tips, here's my backup images. So those are there. Now if I go and I go to another hard drive down the line, I should be able to go to my G, and same thing. And if all worked well, there it is. There they are. So super easy. And I can also look and say, okay, well, just if I want to double check or triple check, is it there? And the answer is yes, it is. Okay, so there now is on 3 hard drives. Now, monthly, I take and I bring another hard drive in that is a portable hard drive that I will then back up anything new to as well. Then this hard drive is then taken off site. Since I have that drive here right now, I'm simply going to go ahead and do what we just did with those other drives. I'm going to move that over as well and copy it, so it's actually already now being put on my drive that is going to be taken off-site. This one takes a little bit longer. It just depends on the type of drives you're using. Some drives are faster than other drives, depending on the quality of that drive and how much you've spent on that drive, honestly. So, but anyway, so that's going to back up, and then what I would do is take that hard drive that's this extremely portable hard drive. That one is going to go off-site. I keep that at our gallery, and then basically every 6 months I also do the same thing. I back everything up one more time, and I put that in Fireproof Safe. And you think, well, gosh, Dave, that is just extreme. You know, it's not that difficult if you get into a system. You can see I simply went from the memory card to my one drive, then I backed up to the 2 other drives, and then once a month I come in and anything new that I've done, because I'll be working on my computer, and so I have new work on my computer, new images that I've done, and I simply go ahead and back that up and take it back off site so that my images are safe in case of a fire, in case of theft, in case of a lot of situations. The most important thing here is to understand that if I lost a hard drive, as an example, I did lose a hard drive the other day. It was actually this E drive that I've had to reformat. I lost all the information, but guess what? I actually had everything backed up on another drive, and so I was not worried. Plus, I had everything almost completely up to date off-site as well, so that was great too. So that's my basic system for backing up. It's pretty straightforward. Now, if I was going to go ahead and download into Lightroom or import into Lightroom to start, basically what I would do here is when I put that memory card in, and you can see this on Toby's tutorials where he talks about importing and getting your images in Lightroom. Basically what you would do is you would make sure that as you go to import, there's some boxes over here that you can check. For instance, I don't want to do import suspected duplicates, but this is the key right here. Make a second copy, and you can dictate where that copy is going to go to. So on import, you can have it going to 2 separate drives. Super important. And you can see here that all of this is mirrored over here now in Lightroom. So if I come over here into Lightroom, you're going to see all of my folders here. So again, it's super easy. The biggest thing is making sure that whatever system you choose, however you want to do it, that you are consistent in your process, that everything is backed up correctly, and that you are not skimping out. So basically what happens is sometimes you might download and then you move on and you haven't downloaded to the next hard drives. Just do it as you go. Make sure that you do everything right away and keep it consistent, and you will be safe in how you are, making sure everything is backed up correctly. let me talk about traveling now. So when I'm out traveling, I do carry a travel hard drive with me at all times, and you can see that I have again a portable hard drive here. But basically, what I do is when I am out traveling, I go ahead and I shoot with my memory card. My cameras now will have two slots, so it's a double slot. So I have two memory cards in. One is set to record the image, and then the second card is set to be a backup of that image. The only time I don't do that is if I'm photographing wildlife and I have continuous shutter going, quite a bit, where it's just I'm doing 7-8 frames a second, because then it takes more time to write and I may miss the wildlife. But for all my landscape, I use a dual card slot, so that if one card goes bad, the second card is a duplicate of those images. So right off the bat, I have two cards with images on them, the same images. And then nightly, I go ahead and I download, I use a laptop and I download to a travel hard drive. I have a couple different ways. I've got a small SSD drive, 1 terabyte, that's really super light. That's great if you don't want to carry a lot of weight. They're very, very reliable, these SSD drives, much more reliable than other moving part hard drives. These don't have all those moving parts in there. And they're fast, lightweight, but they are expensive. Usually, a terabyte hard drive SSD is around $250 at this time. If you're watching this 2 years from now, it's probably come down a lot in price since I recorded this video. Now, the other drive, if you're looking for something really sturdy and rugged, LaCie makes a hard drive. It's called their Rugged Hard Drive, and those things are awesome. You can drop them. They're waterproof. They're amazing. They are heavy, and but they're awesome. They've also now come out with another drive that's called the Copilot, which is beautiful. You don't even need a laptop. You can simply plug in your memory card right into the hard drive, and it will download. So you can do that right as you go. So you can be on tour, you can shoot, you can be on a African wildlife safari, photograph, and have that hard drive with you, even out in the field, and just plug right in. And that will then work off your iPad for basic editing as well, or a small laptop, or a laptop if you like. So, but once I do that, and then I come home, I do the exact same thing. I go ahead and I plug that drive into my that actually plugs into my other drives, and then I do the same thing, and I just copy over to these other drives, and it's all right there. And now my travel hard drive that's with me, this one has 4 terabytes, and so I don't worry about erasing that. I just leave it as an extra drive, and that's with me when I'm traveling. So if something happened as well while I'm away from the office, I still have a backup there. And of course, again, once a month, I'm backing up everything to that drive that's going off site. So again, it's just really, really, really making sure that my images are safe, and it's awesome to be able to know that everything is here and downloaded. And you notice I said when your hard drive goes bad, not if your hard drive goes bad, but when your hard drive goes bad, you're going to be in good shape. Now, let me also talk to you about when I'm out in the field and I'm photographing. One of the things that I do is, after I use my memory cards, I do not typically shoot on one memory card my entire trip, and that is because of the fact that if a card goes bad, I haven't lost the whole trip. Now, because I'm using two cards at the same time, the risk of that is a lot less. However, what if my camera got stolen and all of my memory cards were in there and I hadn't had a chance to download yet? So what I do is I do use a few different cards on a trip, and then what I do is I put those cards into my memory card holder and I place them in upside down. And what that simply means is that they have not been downloaded to my office computer system yet, so do not reuse them. So I put them in there upside down, and I know not to touch that card until after everything is downloaded and backed up properly. And when I have to grab a card quick, I can simply grab one that is not turned upside down, and before it ever goes back into the case, the right side up, it's downloaded, backed up through the way that I've just showed you, and then I format that card right then, and that way it's clean and ready to go. So again, once I grab that card and have to put it in my camera, I know it's already formatted, it's already ready to go, and I just grab it and go. And again, this might seem time consuming, but it's consistent. And when I do this, I know that by staying in the system, it's always the same, and I can rely on the system. And also when I'm traveling, what you'll notice that I'll do is I will take my memory cards and I will put those in. I have two camera bags. I travel with one that has everything in it except the kitchen sink, and that's heavy, but that's not what I take out in the field with me. So I typically put my hard drive in that one, but then my memory cards stay with me in my small pack that I'm carrying with me everywhere. And again, that is separating those so that if I lost something to theft or I lost it or whatever, I've got my memories in two different locations. My backup hard drive as well as my memory cards while I'm out traveling are in separate locations. I just heard from Steve yesterday he accidentally left his iPad on the plane and it's gone at the moment and it has not been found. Well, if that had been a laptop with all of your images on it, think about how you would feel. The laptop is one thing, but to lose all of your memories, that is another, and one that we want to totally avoid. So again, this is just very consistent on how I do everything, simply for my backup and my backup process. The final thing is to talk about the cloud. I do feel strongly that the cloud is getting there. I don't feel that it's there yet. Again, you may be watching this video in a couple years from my recording and maybe it's faster. Internet times are getting faster. But here's the thing about cloud storage. I feel that it is one option in your tools of backup, but it should not be your sole or only option. The reason for that is one thing is if I was to take these hard drives and go ahead and start backing them up to the cloud, it would take eons to do at this time. So some of the cloud services have a situation where they'll send you a hard drive or you can send them a hard drive to get started. And then that's cool because then they upload it and then it simply keeps up to date as you make changes. So that's great. The other issue that I have with the cloud is we don't know how long these companies are going to be around. People say, well, Amazon or Google, these companies are here to stay. Well, we don't know what 40 years brings from now, 30 years brings from now. I mean, it's only a few years ago CDs were here to stay, and now we're not even using CDs anymore, and we don't know where the future is going to go with this. So as things change, you want to get things backed up. I mean, if you have a VHS tape, you know that you probably never watched it, and to many people's surprise, they're probably going to grab those VHS tapes to transfer them someday, and the data is going to be bad. So as technology changes, you want to make sure that you're constantly keeping up with your backup systems, and you know, really the only archival thing out there is prints. You know, I do books and family albums, and each of our children have those. If all of our hard drive went bad, you know what? Our kids have all of our family images on books that we've done through the years. And so, you know, that's a really safe way. But the other thing with the cloud is what happens if it's hacked into? And, you know, all the precautions are taken for that, but we have seen some of the biggest companies in the world get hacked into. It is possible. Bottom line, when all of this is said and done, I want to be able to control where my images are going, make sure that I have access to them, and nobody else is in control of those images. So that's my take on the cloud right now. Not opposed to it at all. Just understand it takes a lot of time to back up to. Once you get it in a system, it can go quick, and that's great, but I still highly recommend having your images on hard drives, and then above all, learning to print some of your favorite images. Put some albums together of your favorite images. Get some images as art pieces on your wall. Okay, well, thank you so much for being a Pen member. We are thankful for you folks. I hope this was really helpful. We want to make sure that, you know, you're backing up. My suggestion is that if you're listening to this and you do not have a system in place, you do not hesitate. It is in your hands now. Go out, get some hard drives, get your images backed up. Don't worry about being perfectly organized to start. Go ahead and get your images backed up right now and then start the organization process. At least get everything backed up to begin with. All right, this has been David McKay with this Tuesday tip on backup, backup, backup. Thank you again and have a great day.